Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. Tonight we're going to take a look at the faction focus for the Tyranids here in 10th edition. So let's dive right into it and see what we got for the bugs. Okay, a Great Devourer. Many of the more self-important factions in Warhammer 40,000 have complex and inscrutable motivations, but not the Tyranids. For these galaxy-spanning nightmares from the dark beyond, there's only one directive: consume. And thrown above, they are good at it. The Space Marines have their work cut out for them in the upcoming Leviathan box set. It's time to find out why in our next faction spotlight. Yes, rather scary looking. Okay, and of course they're beating up the guard, not the Space Marines, but yeah, here we go. The Tyranids are ravening monsters who devour whole worlds in a chitinous tide, and as you might imagine, they test the mettle of even hardened veterans. Accordingly, they have several ways to apply battle shock tests to cowering foes and take advantage of the results, including their powerful shadow and the warp ability. Seems appropriate. I feel like being attacked by one of these things would be pretty shocking. They also benefit more than ever from working together as a single all-consuming mass guided by the synapse network that emanates from the hive mind's node beasts. Okay, no big change. Probably some change to what it does, but no big change right there. We've already seen what the hyper adaptations from the invasion fleet detachment can do, but that's only one facet of the swarm. All Tyranids, no matter which detachment you pick, benefit from the two unique army rules we just mentioned: Synapse and Shadow in the Warp. The former will be familiar to veteran Tyranid players. Small bioforms who stay close to their betters get to roll an extra dice when making battle shock tests. This ability compensates for the low leadership characteristics common to lesser Tyranids. Beyond the synapse range, they're a mindless rabble driven by predatory instincts. Okay, so within synapse range, they're a swarm of singular and unrelated purpose. Okay, so not being in synapse range still is gonna add some kind of penalties. Okay, Tyranids army rolls, synapse. Tyranids are synaptic conduits. Okay, we know that. If your army faction is Tyranids, while Tyranids unit from your army is within 6 inches or one or more synapse models from your army, that unit is said to be within synapse range of your army. Each time a Tyranids unit from your army takes a battle shock test, if it is within synapse range of your army, test on 3d6 instead of 2d6. So really, it's going to give you a bonus. You're going to be at normal leadership test rather than the enhanced if you're not in synapse range. It's kind of like how heavy weapons have changed to be a bonus when standing still rather than a penalty for moving. Okay, I kind of like that. If they're just making everything into either a bonus or the absence of a bonus, that's easier mentally for the players to make decisions around than having penalties. Synapse creatures now act as nodes to call the Shadow of the Warp down onto the battlefield, forcing an immediate battle shock test on every unit in the opponent's army. You can trigger this ability once per game in either player's command phase and can utterly annihilate your foe's battle plans. Units lose control of objectives and access to stratagems. Yeah, that could be pretty rough. The battlefield with a psychic signature to the Hive Fleet, an icy alien dread that gnaws at the minds of their prey and smothers even the most stalwart courage. When faced with an unfathomable horror, many are driven insane or suffer catastrophic neural damage. Army faction is Tyranids, 1 per battle. In either player's command, so if you more units from your army with this ability are on the battlefield, you can unleash the Shadow in the Warp. When you do, each enemy unit on the battlefield must take a battle shock test. So, yeah, that could be pretty rough knowing what we know about battle shock, but what's especially nasty about this is you can do it in your opponent's command phase. So you can degrade one of his turns pretty harshly with that, I would think. Especially if you have an opponent with weaker leadership scores. That could really be something that could be a game changer if deployed right. You deploy at the beginning of the game maybe, or on turn 2, which tends to be the busiest, and take away a lot of what the opponent is counting on. Okay, taking together these abilities allow you to control the morale game and ensure your units snag objectives. Failed battle shock tests impart some pretty serious penalties. It might take a few opposing units bottling it to swing the game in your favor. True. Unit spell. So Gene Stealers. Okay, these are a signature unit. I remember way back in 2nd edition, these things were bonkers. Because of the way weapon skill and the number of attacks that interact in that game, as well as having multiple models in contact with enemy models at the same time. Gene Stealers were just nuts. Okay. They have helped shape the galaxy of Warhammer 40,000 from the early days of Space Hulk lurking in the nightmares of Terminators. Yeah, that's true. They're twice as hard to put down with 1 extra wound each. Okay. While the Scout's 8-inch core ability is a free move 8 inches after deployment. That seems appropriate. They're perfect for scuttling over to key objective, where their rending claws get full wound rerolls thanks to Vanguard Predator ability. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. It's an 8-inch per game. That's pretty good. Okay, so they're movement 8, toughness 4, save 5 up, wounds 2, leadership 7, objective control 1. So, kind of put my hand up to the microphone here because wife and kid are watching a movie there and trying to keep the amount of movie sound coming to the microphone down. The Gene Stealer claws and talons. Melee weapons, 4 attacks. Okay, so that's quite a bit. 2 weapon skills, strength 4, AP minus 2, damage 1. Given the changes to AP, I would say that is a very solid melee profile. I'm not sure how many would in a squad. I don't know anything about Tyranids or what sides their squads are now, but even 5, that would be 20 attacks. If it's 10, that's 40 attacks. Yeah, these guys are... They're not that hard to kill. Toughness 4, save 5 up, 2 wounds. He's not that hard to kill, but they can inflict a lot of punishment on the charge. Okay, Vanguard Predator, each of them models make attack, roll. Oh, and they reroll wound rolls of 1. And if they're within range of an objective, then you reroll all the wounds. Yeah, that is ferocious. That is very ferocious. And they have a 5 up invuln. Okay. On top of that. So these things are pretty solid package, I would say. Okay. So basically, you're always going to be rolling a 5 up to save. The 5 up armor save is immaterial. Tyranid swarms are capable of shocking, cunning, strategic maneuvers. None exemplify this better than the Swarm Lord. This apex bioform's military genius on par with the galaxy's best generals, spawned only when the hive mind needs to overwhelm particularly tough targets. Okay. Movement 8, toughness 10. Okay. That's as good as a gladiator. 2 up save, 10 wounds, leadership 7, objective control 3. Oh, this is an epic hero guy. If we look down here, so I'm going to jump ahead. Monster character, epic hero, psyker, great devourer, synapse, the swarmlords. This guy is kind of like their reboot Guilliman. Okay, synaptic pulse, range. Okay, so he has a psychic attack, 18-inch range attacks, D6 plus 3. It's an auto. Yeah, it's torrent, so it's auto hitting. Strength 5, AP minus 1, damage 2. Melee weapons, bone sabers, twin linked. Okay, melee attacks 8, weapon skill 2, strength 9, AP minus 2, damage 3. This guy's a 4 up invuln, so he's going to be pretty durable. Hive commander, you gain a command point of your command phase. So malign presence, once per battle after your opponent uses a stratagem with model as your warlord, and on the battlefield it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the battle, increase the stratagem cost to your opponent by 1 CP. Okay, so it's a CP. It's basically a CP stealer. Domination of the hive mind. While a friendly Tyranid's unit is within 9 inches of this model, that unit is within your army's synapse range. Good. Okay. All right. That's and then yeah. Okay. Overall package. Yeah, this is a very solid package. He's got the shooting. He's got the melee. He's got the durability. The wounds are a little bit lower than I would expect for a really large Tyranid monster, but I think they're trying to keep him on par with the other epic heroes, so that makes sense. Swarmlord cements your mastery of the command phase with 2 QBOs. Hive Commander effectively doubles the command points you generate in your own turn. Presence, on the other hand, is a nasty way to shut your opponent's most reliable stratagems. Increase the CP cost of one specific stratagem for the rest of the battle. Yeah, that plus the what was that ability called again? Shadow in the Warp, of course. That tells me Tyranids are going to really, really be heavily oriented on, how should I put it? I guess effects that are going to degrade, going to make the game harder for the opponent to play. That's going to be your main strategy as a Tyranids player. It looks like from these three things. You're gonna put them on the back foot so that they are dealing with the units you see before you from a degraded standpoint. I think that's the takeaway here. Okay, moving on. Weapons. So they have a reputation as close combat monsters. Tyranids pack some serious range firepower. The Rupture Cannon is a massive two-stage bioweapon mounted on the left-ring Tyran effects that launches acid-filled ticks. Oh, yuck. Basically a Lyme disease gun. And chemically unstable seeds the size of cars, because of course it does. I don't see how they're going to be the size of cars. Maybe smart cars. Motorcycles. That's still pretty big. Okay, 48-inch range, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 18. Yikes. Oh boy, so this is going to be wounding rhinos on a 2. Strength AP minus 4, damage 2d6. So it's going to average 7 damage for it. That's going to be pretty brutal. And I would be very willing to bet that it's not hard to get something on this to make it hit on a 2 or have some kind of reroll. They say rerolls are going to be rarer, but I'm seeing some so far, so I don't know how much rarer. Rupture Cannon's Revolting Payload gets even stronger in the new edition to keep up with the tougher vehicles it'll encounter. I looked at that before. Previous video, and it could put out some seriously eye-watering damage numbers. Better yet, the new heavy weapon ability makes it more accurate. Oh, well, yeah, it's heavy. So if he doesn't move, it's hitting on a 2 up. There you go. Makes it more accurate, provided your Tyran effects can stay put and plant its feet or claws. Okay, yeah, I got to get used to these new weapon abilities. I'm still not thinking in terms of the keywords on the weapons quite right. But yeah, that's pretty bad. Pretty bad news. On par with the heavy laser destroyer overall, slightly higher strength, more AP, it's more damage. Yeah, it's better. It has shorter range, but I don't know that the difference between 48 and 72 is going to matter in probably at least 90% of the games. Okay. Yeah, so watch out for the Tyran effects in his Rupture Cannon. Okay. Stratagem Spotlight. A swarm of Tyranids at full tilt is an endless tide of chittering creatures, replacing fallen bodies almost as soon as they hit the ground. These units are marked by the Endless Multitude keyword, which ties into the new look Endless Swarm Stratagem. What does this do? Strategic play. The battle rages more important. Command phase. Up to 2 Endless Multitude units from your army that are within synapse range, or 1 other Endless Multitude. So 2 that are in synapse range, or 1 of them. Up to D3 plus 3 models are returned to each of these selected units. Okay. And this does not say anything about once per battle. Okay, so that's going to be... That means it's going to be like Necrons. You're going to have to really count on putting down units completely, or they might get endless swarmed. Especially smaller units, like, say, Gene Swords only come in at 5. If you don't get the last one, they're going to get them all back. Termagants, Hormagaunts, Gargoyles, and the Neuragaunts featured in the Leviathan box that all have this keyword. Maybe they don't have the right keyword. So, yeah, do they? Let's see if Gene Stealers have that. No, they don't. Okay. So they're not part of the Endless Multitude. Just you can bring up to 12 models on your turns. It's a lot of wasted firepower. Yeah, that is the truth. It really is. Okay, let's see. Word from the studio. We're keen to bring the unnatural alien horn of the Tyranids to the fore in this edition, emphasizing that they are utterly terrifying foes to fight, explains Robin from the Warhammer studio. This leads the Shadow in the Warp, causing battlefield-wide panic and disruption, while creatures in synapse range remain single-minded and utterly lethal, especially in the confines of close combat. Meanwhile, the famed bioadaptability of the Tyranid is captured in the detachment rules, allowing them to adapt at the start of the battle to be best suited to overcome their prey. And Blake, the Hive Mind isn't one for sharing stories. The tales of their righteous crusade of consumption are generally told from a less sympathetic perspective. Nevertheless, if you want to see some of the canned biomess we call Space Marines getting seriously mangled, the novel is going to be a place to start. Yeah, Devastation of Bale, too. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's fair. They really are hawking this Leviathan novel, which is Ultramarines, really. But it is probably almost impossible to write a novel from the Tyranid perspective. Yeah, I don't just see how that's possible. So that's a fair point. Okay, you can get a preview of the dire times of devastation of Bale. Focus on the last time Leviathan raped Imperial Space. If you're wondering why Brute Guilliman is so more about Leviathans reemerged on the other side of the galaxy, it's a mini trailer. This is why. Okay, because he knows what's coming. Yeah, well, maybe he should not task his own chapter to do everything. All right, well, that's all we have on the Tyranids. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, especially if you're a Tyranids player. I would really like to hear what you think about this. If you don't have anything else, please leave us a pound Valkyrie for the dog. Her Majesty, she would really, really like that. And click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye.